So how about that Mario Kart 8 DLC, huh? After that last Direct, I've gotta say I'm a lot more intrigued by the Booster Course Pass. I mean, don't get me wrong, the previous tracks were cool and all, but Yoshi's Island just looks so good, perfectly capturing the art style of the original game. And additional characters are on the table? Personally, this has really revitalized my interest in the game, and this new content got me thinking about what could be next for the Mario Kart series, and the deep discussion surrounding it. See, a lot of people have the idea that Mario Kart is pretty limited with where it could go after 8. After anti-gravity, what else can you do? That's why the Roman Empire fell. They defied gravity, and then they gave up. Anyway, the idea that many people have latched onto is the series changing from Mario Kart to Nintendo Kart. Or Smash Kart. Nintendo All-Stars Kart? Basically, they want it to become a big crossover like Smash Bros. And you know what? On the surface, that makes a lot of sense. Mario Kart 8 and its deluxe release gave us a bigger taste than ever of crossover potential for this series, with tracks, vehicles, and characters from the likes of F-Zero, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon. All that stuff has been pretty great too, with Hyrule Circuit actually being a personal favorite of mine. So making these crossovers the standard rather than the exception isn't necessarily an out there concept. In fact, if the Mario Kart devs went ahead and did that, they could get a lot of the same upside as Smash Bros. Particularly, a lot of excitement surrounding what series, characters, and locales will be represented in the game. And naturally, a whole lot more to pull from for all of that stuff. And at the very least, a roster made up of Nintendo's best and brightest has to be better than a plethora of Koopalings, babies, and pink gold peach, right? So, you read the title. This is the part of the video where I talk about how I actually don't want any of that. Okay, so while this is the unpopular opinion by the looks of it, I'm definitely not the only one who wants Mario Kart to stay Mario Kart. But I've noticed that most of the other people with that stance don't really have a big reason why, other than the vague notion of the series maintaining its identity. And I just think that doesn't really mean much. Like, I kinda get it, but also it just comes across as empty buzzwords. But I am superior because I do have a specific reason that I don't want the series to become crossover-centric. And ironically, it's because of the missed potential of the roster. I have a problem with the playable character selection of not just Mario Kart, but other spin-offs like Mario Party and the various Mario Sports titles. They're all so boring, and right away that may seem like a reason to vouch for a Smash-like rebrand, but let me finish. The Mario Kart roster is boring because it doesn't explore the full extent of the Mario universe and franchise. If we account for not just mainline Super Mario games, but also side series and other games starring Mario Universe characters, there is so much to pull from for tracks and characters. The problem is that Mario Kart rarely ever branches out from the most vanilla, generic, promotional poster-ass cast. We barely ever get Donkey Kong Country characters, we never see Wario Land characters or the WarioWare gang, no representation from the RPGs, not even any retro deep cuts like Tatunga or
The Great Wart. Ha ha ha!
No. Instead, it seems like the devs are afraid to go any crazier than fabricating yet another baby character who wasn't even in Yoshi's Island. Come on! The only reason I can think of that could explain why this is the case is that maybe they don't want to risk alienating a big part of the audience. Let's be real, Mario Kart is quite possibly Nintendo's most mainstream and casual game in terms of who picks up and plays it. A huge chunk of its audience is made up of people who would never even think to play a video game other than Mario Kart. So maybe the logic is that straying too far from the basic and samey could be off-putting to those players? But you know what? That's stupid. Is Grandma really gonna draw the line at Jimmy T?
Hey!
First of all, those people aren't buying Mario Kart because it has Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and thank God not Fawful. They're buying Mario Kart because it's Mario Kart. And the thing is, those super casual players only really know about most of the standard Mario Kart cast from Mario Kart itself. I mean, even characters that we think of as common knowledge like Wario or Daisy would probably be complete unknowns to that side of the player base if they weren't mainstays in the series. In fact, isn't that a reason to dig a little deeper for the characters? Throw the likes of King K. Rool, Captain Syrup, and Vivian in there, and suddenly, all of those characters become household names. And all of that isn't even touching upon the track potential. We've already seen what a Donkey Kong Country course can be, so imagine not only more of that, but also racetracks through places like Diamond City, Rogueport, and Fawful Theater. Again, Mario Kart can and should be so much more, while still sticking solely to the Mario universe. And so the reason why I absolutely don't want it to turn into Nintendo Kart is that as soon as that happens, think about it. If it becomes a general Nintendo crossover, there won't be any room for the more obscure parts of the Mario universe. Because now we have to make room for Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, Metroid, Fire Emblem, and more. Each of those would have to get at least a few particularly iconic characters and courses in order for the representation to seem faithful and balanced. Sure, characters from Mario adjacent series like Donkey Kong Country and WarioWare may still be fair game, but they'd have a lot more of an uphill battle compared to protagonists from each series. And you could certainly wave goodbye to any chance of Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, or other niche Mario content getting any sort of spotlight. So yeah, in short, I don't want Mario Kart to become Nintendo Kart because I want the series to do a better job of really representing the full breadth of the Mario franchise, something that become obsolete if the focus of the roster were to pivot completely. Just as Smash Bros does a great job of celebrating Nintendo and video game history in general, Mario Kart could and should celebrate the surprisingly expansive Mario universe specifically. The Mario Kart roster can be way more interesting than it is right now, and it doesn't need to become the racing version of Smash to do so. Mario Kart should not become Nintendo Kart. It should just explore the full depth of what it means to be Mario Kart.